Cas versus Hull FC, Sunday the 25th of March. Get your tickets now at casttigers.com.
Ian, there's obviously no avoiding what's happened. First of all, can offer my sincere condolences for the last few weeks. With that in mind, how tough a decision has it been to come back to work?
Oh, I don't want to talk too much about previous events. I've obviously I need to come back and get in a bit of normality. I also need to I've got a responsibility here also. As much as you don't like to think, but I'm one of the profile faces of the club, so I need to be in a situation to help lead the club. And it's I know what my son would have wanted me to do, so I just need to get back and start coaching again. How much contact have you been able to have with Stuart and the guys here as regards to what's been going on the field? Probably the first couple of weeks, I didn't have any. I had to address a lot of issues with that there. But probably late last week, I probably started having a little bit of interaction. And that probably gave me the indication that I needed to come back to work. So I'm very, very appreciative of the support I've had from the Castleford Tigers. Very, very appreciative of the support from the players and the staff and Stewie and all the staff there. So and just in general, people in rugby league. It's been very comforting. Some of the help, but obviously I've got to get on with things at the moment. And my concern now is for this week, obviously Friday night, tomorrow. How eager are you to throw yourself back into it, if you like, get into the thick of the day-to-day running of this stuff? No, well that's my job. That's my job. I need to do my job now. What do you make of the position Castleford find themselves in? Because obviously round one, great start, and with that win, but since then obviously it's been 5 straight defeats. Like I said, there's a job to do here and turn things around. Yeah, I just personally, I was very proud of the way we went about our first 3 games, and very happy with our pre-season. Obviously I haven't had much interaction at all with the last 3, so obviously I've got to understand that with everyone needs to draw a line in the sand and move forward from the last 3 weeks. I've made some changes this week. I just think just coming back, just needs to, we just need to freshen some things up, and we just need to challenge everyone, and probably staff and players. So it's important that when you return to work, my job is to be a leader, and I have to make decisions. I don't want the guys to think that I'm just going to spend the next 3 weeks trying to catch up. We need to move forward. I'm not so much concerned about what's happened the last 3 weeks. I just want to make sure that we're consistent in our actions on what we were doing previously. When we were in France, I was really impressed with our performance. We got beaten the last 10 minutes by a very good French team. I think if they have no injuries, will finish in the top 4, if not finish league leaders. And we played exceptional that day. So it's. And we played good in the first game against Salford, and against Bradford we had a lot of opportunities, and we only got beaten. I think it was 20-12. So I felt we're heading the right directions. But you learn very quickly. Life gives you no guarantees. So that's just we just got to get back and just be consistent in our actions, consistent in how we go about our preparation, and try and get back into a little bit of normality, because I understand it affects everyone in different ways. Does this mean then tomorrow night you are hands-on, you're in full control, as opposed to relying on some of the guys? Yeah, look, I've got 100% faith in all my staff, and but you got to keep in mind, we've got a younger staff, and that's been a big burden on them. So, I arrived back here at 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. I had a meeting with all the staff, all the players, and the whole staff in the organisation, and then so we've. I've taken charge again. It's that's pretty important that happens. But I think Stewie's done a good job. You picked a big game to come back for the league leaders away from home. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Nathan Brown and Paul Anderson. Obviously, I recruited Paul to St Helens, and I'm very appreciative of some of the help that they've actually in one of the games gave Stewie. I think they're playing great. I like the way they played the last 2 years in attack. I think they're they're very good to the eye to watch. I like the way they're going about things. I like the way Nathan's trying to mix things up and trying to challenge his team and the way they play and different positions and so forth. But we'll go all right tomorrow night. You know what I mean? It's we just need to get back, like I said, a normal week, and we'll try really hard tomorrow night. You know, the main thing is we do our best. We understand they're top of the league, but we're not intimidated going there. We're very much we have a plan of attack. Like I said, we've made some changes, and we expect a good performance from Castleford Tigers tomorrow night.
And there'll be individual battles all over the pitch, of course, but I guess given they're both involved in the England elite training squad, the spotlight's very much going to be on how Dannybrough goes against Rangi Chase.
Yeah, look, you know, I mean, they've got probably a lot of quality and a lot of depth in their halves. You know, if you look at Brough, you look at Brown, you look at Grix, they're very strong. You know, and that's why they can play the style they can. You know, but having said that, you know, Rangi, you know, I've probably, you know, I haven't known him long. I started dealing with him in probably in September, November last year to try and get him to sign a 4-year contract. And, you know, I've seen a lot of, actually I said to him this week, you know, I've seen a lot of maturity in him just over that short period of time. So, and I'm probably a good person to gauge that because I haven't known him for a long period of time. So it's not like I can say he was like that in previous years, but I can see that. I can see some things settle in his life. I can see that he wants Castleford Tigers to do really well, and I know he wants to do well on Friday night. So, you know, I'd expect Rangi on Friday night to show that he's not a Super League player. I'd expect him to show that he's a representative player, and I'm sure he'll show that.
Wish the best of luck.
Thanks.
I think just talking about Rangi against London on Saturday, Ian, you know, he still did some great things despite, you know, the team going down. It looked dangerous most of the times when he got the ball, so he's certainly still playing well, isn't he?
Yeah, I had a look at some coverage on Monday night of our game on the Saturday, and I actually thought that we created a lot of opportunities. I thought we looked quite tired in the last 20 minutes, and that can be for a lot of reasons. If you look at some of the stats, they're very equal between two teams. The scoreline wasn't probably, but we weren't consistent enough, you know. And I think, you know, not being neglectful to anyone who's previously been here, but I thought some habits that were probably crept in late last year, crept in when we were under pressure, and we'd probably try to utilise Rangi too much, and we'd spent a lot of the pre-season on, you know, giving him probably a different role. And you'll probably see that back again on Friday night. But I think that's just indicative of his desire to be so competitive. And like I said, you know, I mean, I've been really impressed with him since I've come on board. And I think, to me, down the track, he reminds me of some good players I've coached. I think probably down the track, he probably needs to be, if he continues to improve as a person and as a team member, he needs to probably be rewarded down the track as a captain.
Can I just ask Ian how the guys have reacted to you returning this week? Because obviously in this sort of situation, it's very difficult for players because you're in a naturally Mickey-taking environment, really, in a rugby league club, in my experience, and yet nobody wants to say the wrong thing. It must be difficult for them, really, as well as for everybody in the club, I would think.
Yeah, I can imagine it is, especially when you've got a young squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
but get back to normality isn't the easiest.
Yeah, no, it's not. But you know, I think the players have had some counselling, and I'm pretty sure they have. Yep. And you know, obviously I've had some counselling on that too. Look, I think the most important thing is to just treat me as a normal person as they did previously. You know what I mean? And you know, and that's what I've asked the players to be honest. And also,
I think you're talking crap, tell you, in other words.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't need them to stand back from where they were previously. You know, I mean, it's just really important that we, you know, the word that normality comes back in, and the understanding that you know, I need to be just treated as I previously was, and difference there. So, you know, I think because we've had some help, you know, I mean, like I said, you know, I think the RFL have been very helpful. The benevolent fund through Steve Ball has been very, very helpful, and I think that's helped make the transition for everyone a lot more lot easier. But you know, obviously, you know, I don't want to go into it too deep, but there obviously has been some issues there.
And the meeting on Monday has played quite an important part in sort of getting the week as normal as possible.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, it's it's pretty important in this day and age that you prepare for games. And it's pretty important in life that you're prepared to do things to the best of your ability, and that was just one of the processes that was put in place.
Sticks ribbon, how it goes from there.
Yeah, if we could, yeah, Friday night.
You said you'd made some changes
Yeah.
this weekend. That kind of personnel or?
Yeah, look, I'm really excited about some guys. You know, we decided to rest a couple of guys because with the GPS tracking and looking at workloads and all that, there's some guys who have really had to do a lot of work in the last 6 games. I'm going to give Stuart Jones and Oliver Holmes a break, our 2 back rowers. Brett Ferris comes back from injury. I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited about Jimmy Green, the young kid we recruited from France, who's Australian. He's only raw at the moment, but he'll come into the team. Ryan Hudson will come into the team. Obviously, Danny Orr's going to be out on Friday night, you know, which is a loss for us as a leader. But you know, I think with Ryan coming in, you know, it gives us some options there with Darryl Clark and Adam Milner. Joe Arundel returns, you know, good young centre. We've got one other little issue in the outside backs. I'll find out tomorrow, and if that person's out, James Clare will come in. Young, talented kid who's come through the CAS ranks. So, you know, there could be, you know, at least 4 or 5 changes come Friday night.
All captain of the team, yeah.
Do you know what? That's a good question. That's one thing I forgot today. Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, hasn't prompted me. But our rules is that the captain comes from the leadership group, and we have a leadership group of 5. So that'll be pretty easy to make there. Let me have a think about that, and I'll come back tomorrow. So,
Can you just tell us who that leadership group is? Just as a matter of
yeah, obviously it's Rangy Chase, Brett Ferris, Kirk Dixon, Ryan McGoldrick, and Danny Orr. So obviously with Danny coming out, it'll be one of those, and those other guys are all playing.
How about his injury and he didn't play in the second half last week?
Yeah, it was nerve, a little bit of nerve problem in his arm, you know, and you know I was very concerned that we didn't overexpose him. You know, I think everyone's got to understand too. You've got to start preparing the teams for Easter. You don't prepare teams after Easter, and that's really important. So, you know, we got 3 weeks before an Easter setup, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to look at the squad. I will look at a lot of their loadings and their kilometres and things like that, and start to put in place a bit of a schedule where we can hopefully lessen the burden, because it's not. Everyone seems to think it's what you do after the Easter weekend that'll have an effect on your fatigue levels. It's a lot of it's to do not only after but before it. So, you know, if it was a grand final, probably Danny might have been able to play. But you know, it's not a grand final. It's looking after a player who's had to do a lot of work lately. But he does have an injury. It's you know, and what I don't need is that injury to get worse and then be out for, you know, a couple of months. For the next couple of months, you know, because we do lack a little bit of leadership, you know. I mean, we're a very quiet group, you know, and that's the balancing act for me over the next couple of years. You know, is just trying to get the balance between, you know, continually bringing through youth and creating some experience, and also a little bit of quality around them too. You know, I mean, you keep hearing people we bring through, but they're always young. You know, I mean, and I've got to be aware too that. Maybe some of them don't need to play every week. It's, you know, it can have a mental and physical drain on them too.
Is the squad? I mean, you've obviously been here, you know, from the start of the season. Is the squad set now for the season, or is there still the potential to bring new guys in?
No, I wouldn't be looking at it because you know, I haven't used Craig Hubie all season. He's still probably about 6 weeks away. Paul Jackson's still 6 weeks away. You know, if maybe a centre become available, you know, I would approach the board. You know what I mean? And I have regular meetings with the board. Obviously, I haven't for a while, but you know, if the right person come up we thought was long term, we'd look at it. But no, that's why I'm really conscious of how I look after the squad. Over the next probably month or so. Because what we've got is what we'll have. We've probably recruited less than any club in Super League in 2012. And that was a little bit to do with, there was people on contract. There was only X amount of money left, and I was aware of that when I came on board. But also we've upgraded a lot of young guys to keep other clubs from coming in for them. So a lot of people say they get very critical with the board. Ian Millward's come on board, and you've only given him a maximum of 4 players, and a couple of them have played in the championship. But you've got to look at the long picture with the younger kids. We've got players coming off contract. The club are very keen to secure all the details intact for the new stadium. So it's sometimes as a fan you can get impatient. My job is to make sure that I keep patient, I keep working and with the players, and I really do believe if we can make the right decisions over the next couple of years, we can have a really good team here at Cass. Playing out of a new stadium, which would be really exciting. I can see some, but we've just got to keep a little bit patient as a group. And obviously as a fan, you can get frustrated with some losses, but but we'll improve over the next few weeks. I'm sure we will.
You're out of the 8 at the moment, but in the way I see it, the last 2 games, the ball hasn't bounced your way really. But obviously you're not giving up hope on being in the top 8.
Look, I'm not even worried about. Look, if you sat down with the players, I never spoke about the top 8. We never spoke about anywhere where we want to finish. What we talked about was consistency in some of the actions we're trying to become better as an individual and as a player. And basically all we're talking about, and we do a lot of key performance indicators and things like that. And when we get them up to the mark, and that'll give us an opportunity to be more competitive in games, we can then talk about where we want to be. But I feel the process would be very flawed if we talked about the end result instead of the starting result. And obviously, if you're coaching, Wigan or St Helens or Leeds and that today, that would be a given that you do finish in the top 4 because of the resources you spend, the salary cap you spend, and the depth of your squad. But for us, it's probably a little bit different. It's we've got to look at how best to build this team at the moment.
Cass versus Hull FC, Sunday the 25th of March. Get your tickets now at Castleford Tigers.com.